Hello everyone, this is Christelle from Tricot Stitch, and today I am going to show you how to work the invisible ribbed bind off. It's the bind off I used in the Slitsvijs mittens, and it's a very nice and very stretchy bind off that is looking as if the ribbing is going on and above and on the other side as well. There is no clear demarcation of the bind off edge, and it complements nicely the alternate cable cast on, which I've used for the Slitsvijs mittens as well. So to work this bind off, you will need a darning needle, and you will also need to break your yarn, leaving a tail of approximately 3 times the size, the circumference of your work. So it mustn't be too long, because otherwise it's going to be a struggle to pull the yarn through each stitch, but you need to have enough to work the whole of the project without having to grab another scrap of yarn. So if you're familiar with grafting, it's kind of similar. It's kind of the same way of working. You have to go through each stitch twice. That's what you have to keep in mind to make sure you succeed to do this bind off. So each stitch must be worked twice. So what I'm going to show you now is the first 2 steps you have to work just like the kitchen stitches. There are 2 preparatory steps you need to take prior to really go into the repeats. So those 2 steps are going to be worked on the first 2 stitches. So I have here a knit stitch and there a purl stitch. So on the knit stitch, you're going to insert your needle purlwise and then pull your yarn through. That's the first step. And right after that, you're going to put your needle in the purl stitch knitwise, like this, and pull your yarn through. So that are the 2 preparatory steps you need to take. And then I'm going to show you the repeat. So the repeat starts with the knit stitch here. So you insert the tip of your needle knitwise this time, you pull your yarn through, and then you let the stitch fall off the needle. So that's step 1. Step 2, we're going to take care of the next knit stitch, which sits right here, and you're going to insert the tip of your needle purlwise and pull the yarn through. The stitch stays put. There. Then back at the purl stitch, you're going to insert the tip of your needle purlwise, like so, and pull the yarn through and drop the stitch off the needle, like so. And you can, pull a little, yeah, you can pull your tail a little tighter just to have nice and nice stitches. And the last step is going to be worked on the next purl stitch, and you will have to insert the tip of your needle knitwise but from behind. So you go through between the stitches from behind to the front, and then you insert the tip of your needle knitwise in the purl stitch, and you pull your yarn through, and the stitch stays put. And that's it, really. That's the 4 steps. You have to repeat. I'm going to show you those steps once again, but you have to repeat the steps until you reach the last stitch on your needles. So here you're going to work this way, the first needle, and then you're going to bind up those stitches. And once you reach the very last stitch, you're going to pull your yarn through, drop it off the needle, and then just simply weave your ends in. So let's repeat the 4 steps. So you start with the first stitch, which is a knit stitch. So you insert your needle knitwise in the stitch, pull your yarn through, and drop the stitch of the needle, like so. Then onto the next knit stitch, you insert your needle purlwise, and you pull your yarn through. The stitch stays put. Then back to the purl stitch, you insert your needle purlwise, pull the yarn through, and drop it off the needle, like so. And last step, you have to insert your needle knitwise into the next purl stitch from behind. So that means go from behind between the stitches, be careful not to split your yarn, and then insert your needle up. It's a bit of a struggle if your stitches are a bit tight, but there we are. You insert your needle knitwise but from behind, and you pull your yarn through. Up. I have a loop here. Oh no! I've dropped my stitch here. So you mustn't do that, okay? Here you go. And you pull your yarn through. Okay, so that's the 4 steps you have to repeat until you reach the very last stitch. It's going to produce a very nice, very neat, and very stretchy edging for your bind of edge. Sorry, for whatever you choose to use it for your socks. Here for my mitts. And that was the invisible ribbed bind off. Thank you very much. Bye.